C'est bon?
Ouais, ça devrait aller, je pense.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for coming. We're going to talk about something really interesting today. We're going to get an inside look at how Le Monde is doing Snapchat Discover. Jean-Guillaume here is the Snapchat editor for Le Monde. He's going to take you through kind of how they position their offer on that platform because it's so different than all the other platforms out there, and how they stay true to their editorial brand while also adapting to speaking to a completely different audience. And you're going to get some figures from him that I don't think has been talked about before.
The one we produce.
You know what I'm talking about. And we're going to leave it open for questions at the end since it's a relatively short session. So make sure to hold on to your questions until he's done with his presentation, and then I'll open it up to you guys. I'm Garrett Goodman from Watch It. All right, over to you.
Hello everyone. My name is Jean-Guillaume, and I'm the Snapchat editor, as Garrett said. The general idea is I'm going to walk you through a short presentation of what we've been doing over the last 6 months, because we've launched on Snapchat Discover in last September. I don't know if you've heard about it, but we will also be on Snapchat Discover for the year to come, because a week ago we've renewed our partnership until March 2018. So it's very exciting to be able to continue what we've been doing. And so, just to give you a general idea, we started talking with Snapchat at the end of 2015. We've had discussion, we've made pilot editions over the course of 2016, and so we've launched in September. So what I want to talk about today is basically three things. Why did we go on Snapchat Discover? What was the strategic goal for us going there? How to adapt to the platform, because Snapchat Discover is a platform with its own codes, with its own user interface, and also with a radically different audience, and we're going to talk about that. And finally figure out who we are in the Snapchat Discover catalog. We know who we are as a newspaper, we know who we are as a website, but who are we when we stand right next to, let's say, the French equivalence of BuzzFeed, talking to an audience which is way, way younger than ours? So who are we in this environment? And that was both challenging and interesting question to ponder. So first, why did we go on Snapchat Discover? And I'm pretty sure everyone in this room snaps a lot. But just to answer these questions, I just wanted to make a quick walk by the actual interface of Snapchat. And it all starts with the camera, which allows you to take great filters so that the audience can laugh at you. So when you open the app, the first screen that always comes up is the camera, and if you swipe left, you have the message list, and if you swipe left on a name, you have the conversation screen, and when you swipe right, obviously you have the stories, the famous stories screen, and we're already there at the top of the story screen, and if you swipe right again, there is Discover. So there it is, the whole interface of Snapchat. And obviously, we went there because, well, it is just prime real estate, because we are able to have a dedicated space in the social network, along with not a lot of partners, so there is great visibility for us. We have a metaphor for our adventure on Snapchat, is that Snapchat basically owns the place, and we are renting an apartment at the place. But inside this apartment, we can make basically anything we want. We can change the painting of the wall, we can choose our own decoration, and we can talk about anything we want. So that's what was really cool for us too, is that contrary to some other platforms, the Discover edition is completely customizable, and we can create really an experience. And of course, we are, and that's the point, right, addressing a generation that gets the news directly from its social network feeds. So we've talked with our audience. They don't type www.lemonde.fr. They just say, I go on the social networks and I just click and end up on whatever article I'm interested about. So here are 4 numbers to help you see this gap, this bridge between our historic audience and who we are addressing now. So you have on the right the average age of our reader on the website. 46 years old on desktop, 40 years old on mobile app plus mobile website. And on Snapchat, well, we have a nice audience, which is 8.8 million daily active users on Snapchat in France. Not everyone goes on Le Monde, obviously, but this is a really big user base. This is an official number of Snap, by the way. And the overwhelming majority of the Snapchat user base is less than 25 years old. Sorry. We have a number that we compiled because last week we published a snap in our edition asking for our audience to write to us so that later on we can contact them, we can make focus groups and just maybe get a better understanding of what they like and what they're interested in. And they went through a poll just so we know generally what the profile of the reader is. And out of 760 people, only 2 told us that they sometimes read Le Monde on other platforms, website, mobile, app. So this is a really new audience because basically 99% of the audience told us that they read Le Monde exclusively on Snapchat, and they are discovering the brand through Snapchat. So this is great for us, obviously, because we are really addressing the generation of tomorrow that will maybe, hopefully, turn into our readers of tomorrow. Next, I want to address how do we adapt to the platform. Now we're getting into the good things, because basically Snapchat has a very particular interface. So this is an official video from Snap to just show you about it. If it works.
It's playing.
Oh, it's playing, okay. There you go. Yeah, so you swipe left to right, and then you swipe up to see. So there you go. So basically you swipe from left to right to browse the different topics, and you swipe up to read the article we position below what they call the top snap. But there is like this whole vocabulary. We have like, actually I'm just going to show the next slide. There you go. So the edition is composed of what they call top snaps. These are vertical videos of 10 seconds that are looping at the end, and they go back to the beginning. And below top snap, any top snap, we can choose to package an article, a video, another vertical video if we want, and people will then have an arrow that prompts them to swipe up to read the article or check the videos. Any articles we write, by the way, we completely rewrite because we feel that the way Le Monde articles are written do not really fit the audience. Like sometimes we will say write politician's name, for instance, without saying who they are every time in the article. So every article we put on Snapchat Discover, we have editors, text editors working on them to rewrite them in a very vulgarizing way so that anything is understandable if you are 14 years old. That's the question we ask ourselves all the time. Did I know this when I was 14? So that's the rule. So there you go. So you have the the basic structure of the edition, and you have the news edition. So that's what we do from Monday to Friday. What we want to do is show our reader what happened today. And so we have very serious topics. Obviously, we were opening on Mosul that day, but also we can have lighter pieces like the shoulder shrug emoji that was coming to iOS. Then we have the POTUS account that was before Trump selection that was going to be transferred. So you see what we try to do there. We try to find a balance between big articles and just a top snap with the information already in it, so that when you just went through a really long article, you just go through lighter stuff, and a balance too between heavy topics like Mosul with more lighter topics, so that there is always this balance and people are not board throughout the edition, and there is always a surprise waiting for you at the next top snap, or so we hope. What I was saying about the fact that we don't want to make an article about every matter is that we developed a lot of ways of presenting the news in just a top snap in a vertical video. That's actually funny because basically we are doing InDesign on Adobe Premiere or After Effects. We are doing print work on video software, on vertical videos. But we are having fun with those. We have the number of the day. This one, like, wait, I think I can. Yeah, this one. This one's cool. It's like during this snap, 2 people died of tobacco, and so we are playing with the 10-second length of a top snap. When we have really high figures, we just like je sais pas comment on dit. I don't know how to say règle de trois, like proportionate mathing, so that we figure out what happens during a top snap. So that's really cool because it helps us in our reflection about vertical video, in about new formats, and how to present the news. And so we have 4 editions. So we have the news edition, which is the one I showed you. We have also, but we also have the weekend editions because we are publishing Saturday and Sunday. And for that, we developed single topic editions. So we have the list. Basically, it's a very light thing, like 10, I don't know, Instagram accounts to discover the world, 10 images that trick your eyes. So that's lighter weekend stuff. We have the big picture. Basically, it's a single story told throughout an entire edition. There is no article, only top snaps. And obviously, we have special editions for big news. I'll show you like maybe 2 of those if that works. Sorry, I just plugged and unplugged. There you go. So for the big picture, for instance, we made this one. So we don't have. Normally there is sound, and that's also a particularity because we have to like put music on every top snap. But like, so this is a big picture about Aaron's thoughts, and so we tell the story with just top snaps. So what he did. So yeah, add placeholder, you saw that. He went to Stanford, but quit, tag. So we are, and so these are weekend editions when we just tell a single story with an edition. It's like a feature. And generally, like if you want to maybe see another edition that's recent. Okay, it's loading. Well, you get the idea, right? And I invite you, even though you don't live in France, to fire up a free VPN on your phone so that you can check out what we are doing. And that's how Snapchat is geolocated. So in Italy or any country which hasn't had a Discover launch, you have the American channels, I think. So if you want to access to the specific country channels, you have to install a VPN to find out about them. And so you saw what we did. Also, I just wanted to stress that obviously design is crucial. We've had motion designers working inside. Working inside the team and producing the news every day with us. This is what's really also new for us, is that we are addressing a younger audience. We are directly collaborating with a Silicon Valley company, and that we are probably, a lot of media is going to go that route in the near future. We already are, basically. But we also are directly working with motion designers, and that's very interesting for us, is that we've made this kind of startup newsroom in which they are designers, graphists, and they work directly with journalists, and we want them to give us their opinion about the news. So every day we talk. We also like that the discussion is also between journalists and non-journalists to figure out what we want to do. So there you go, the style guide. And so to finish, the question was, find who we are on Snapchat Discover. The answer came progressively, and now in 6 months we've been making 200 editions, so with the time we've also slowly been finding who we are. The general idea for us is that you have to stay true to your brand, because we've noticed that even though the audience is young, they have really acute awareness about the media landscape. So if you try to be not who you are, they will figure it out, they will see it. Snapchat had actually a fun metaphor for it. They were advising to just stay Le Monde, because if you try to be like BuzzFeed or whatever, being Le Monde, it will just feel like your awkward grandfather at Christmas who just puts his hat backwards and is like, yo, 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 and it's just like, okay. So we just basically try to remain Le Monde, but also, being way more visual than we are used to. We want to be a true source of information. This is the Aleppo edition. We don't have an article about this. This is a single topic edition. But this is important for us, making editions about serious matters and trying to make our audience understand more about the world that they're living in. And there's a lot of vulgarization, but we are also, I think, giving access to information. We are a breaking news channel, so we try to be very reactive. There is an edition once a day, but we can update it. So for Trump, we spend the night making the editions, but anytime there is an attack or a big event, we can update the edition with what we call an alert top snap at the beginning of the edition to say, at least this happened. It's still developing. Go to Le Monde's website if you want to see more. But we're aware that this happened, so we've used it for Berlin attacks, for instance. we also, basically, we're the only news channel on Discover, so we feel like we kind of have a public service mission in this whole debate, fake news that has Perugia raging about. What our take is, explaining and giving tips to our audience how to spot fake news from real news. So if an image seems weird to you, just do an inverted Google image. It's really easy, and you will be able to find out if it's real or if it's not. So that's what we try to do as well. And finally, I wanted to conclude with the Snap team, because that's also an important conclusion. To do everything, obviously you need resources. And you can't have only a social media editor in the corner making a Snapchat Discover. It really takes a lot of time and energy doing it. And what I was saying is that we have different profiles. So we have motion designers. I forgot to translate it in English, but you get the idea. Motion designers. So we have motion designers, video journalists, text writers, editors, and myself. And so every day we are producing the edition. Thank you. And I took more time than originally planned, but if you have questions. Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Welcome. Thanks.
I've got some very quick questions while you guys prepare what you want to ask. One of them is how do you position this output? Like, how do you reconcile it versus what you're doing on the website? And do you treat your Snapchat Discover operation as a discrete channel that happens sort of in isolation, or is it in a way a lot like other people are positioning Facebook, where you're eventually trying to get these people back to your website?
There are two answers. Basically, every article that we do, every piece of information that we publish on Discover, it all goes from the website, from the paper. So our source material is the articles from the newsroom. We rewrite them, we change titles, we put like in 5 questions, we edit them a lot, but originally it is articles from the newsroom. And also, obviously, we are trying to find the opposite way, which is we are basically building some skills in vertical video, in vertical infographics, and that's also why this project is useful, is that we are developing skills for mobile-only formats adapted to the screen of the smartphone. So yes, right now we're thinking about how what we've been doing, not by choice, but because we had to publish a Snapchat edition, can be re-injected inside the regular website. But I don't think there is a definite answer, like an industrial one about it. I think it's like this topic can go there, and this one cannot because it's not adapted to the website. So it depends on the matters.
Right. And from a workflow standpoint, would you say that your day, when you're building a Snapchat, a Discover edition, is more similar to the way that the web team works, or more similar to the way that the print team works?
Oh no, we're back to print. No. That's actually funny because the print directors were like giving us tips to make a newspaper. But yes, we have to produce an edition every day at a specific hour, so just like the newspaper. So we have a staff meeting at 8. We have I don't know, it's called in English, we call that the railway meeting, because the top snap and the pages, like where on which page, on which number of page you put the article. So we have a meeting to make that, and then there is the bouclage. Pas comment tu dis ça. But it's very similar to the workflow of the print.
Yeah.
We're rediscovering that.
All right, guys, it's your turn. Who has questions? One over here.
Peut-être.
It's a simple one. How do we view it if we're not how can we view Le Monde if we're not in France?
You just install a free VPN on your iPhone, and you just geolocate to France.
Is there a change in the public watching, reading Le Monde since you have this Snapchat channel? Have you more young following you?
I think it's really hard to tell because we can't have like markers to figure out if there really is a flow of people coming from Snapchat to Le Monde. What I can say is that we are building a new audience on Snapchat. We are talking with them. Also, I forget, but we are on a social network, so what's really cool is that we can talk to the users and we can have a concrete dialogue. How many of them are actually going to the website, I'm not able to tell, honestly. But that's the bet on the future, obviously.
Okay, I know you won't share all the numbers, but you might say something about how many people are viewing the editions maybe, or something about engagement. How many people do you reach, and how many just continue to the end of an edition, for example?
Well, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but per our confidentiality agreement with Snapchat, I'm not really able to tell you in terms of unique viewers and specific numbers. I can tell you that we are very satisfied, and I'm just going to tell you that. Yeah, sorry.
Hello, is there a possibility of monetization in Snapchat? Do you have ads?
Where are you? Okay. Yes, every free snaps inside an edition, there is an ad slot. The ad is formatted the same way a top snap is. So we ask the brands to give us vertical videos of 10 seconds, which are the ads. What's cool about this, basically, also is that they're non-intrusive. You can just swipe right past them like you would on an editorial top snap. And so we have an ad every free snaps. How it works is that Snapchat ad sales can sell on our channel and on the other channels as well. We can sell, obviously, on our channel, and then there is a revenue share agreement.
Just more on that, I'm curious to know, is it more like a traditional magazine where you'd have somebody maybe even sponsoring an entire edition, or, you know, when you insert an ad, is that ad the same ad for every single person who views that edition, or is it more like the web where it's dynamically served depending on who's viewing that edition?
Honestly, I don't feel I wouldn't be able to give you a detailed answer on this. I know that they are looking Snapchat. I think Snapchat is looking into programmatic, but okay. I don't know to what extent. But we've been selling campaigns for single announcers, like Chanel at the launch, for instance, and they've had and they had ads inside our edition, but I don't think it works like the web. Is still like maybe like print, like a magazine, I think.
The single creative into that edition, and that's the one that's going to be seen by everyone.
I think they're looking into programmatic, but you'll have to ask M Publicité, our ad sales team.
Okay. Yeah, we got a question up here. All right, let's go back there and then here.
Can I just ask you about the comments a little bit more? How many comments do you get off the back of the stories that you're producing? How frequent are those comments, and how constructive are those comments in terms of the story creation that you can then make out of them? And a second question, I've got two in one, if that's all right. I know you've got commercial confidentiality on the data, but can you tell us the different types of data that you're being served, at least?
The different types of
data in terms of analytics.
Okay. So for the first question, it really depends on the editions. when we prompt them, when we ask them to do something, to react about a news, like what do you think? Tell us, or we can also make TopSnap like games. Like when we are asking them to engage, we have a lot of reactions. Sometimes there are editions on which there are like maybe, I don't know, like 5 to 10. But when we are asking them to engage, well, what I was saying is that when we asked them to write to us because we wanted to launch a feedback operation, and we got 700, and now I think it's 1,000 answers. So there was a person that spent all day like copy pasting and answering everyone. About the different type of metrics, I'm not really able to give you the specific details, but basically we have metrics which can monitor the behavior inside the edition. So we know how many people, like how the percentage of people who swiped up and the time they spent in the edition. And from these metrics, we are able also to figure out which article worked, which title worked, which headline worked, and so the next time we are constantly adjusting, saying, well, this title did not work, so let's do this instead. About the title, maybe the FARC example I told you yesterday is a cool one. For instance, the way we are writing the headlines differently from our normal supports. Like when the FARC did the agreement with the Colombian government, we wanted to talk about it, we wanted to make an explainer about it, but we were saying, okay, Colombia plus FARC, they will not know. When I was 14, I did not know the FARC and the Colombian government. So we wrote it like the longest civil war that was still happening just ended, swipe up to know more about it. And it works, and so and with the metrics, basically we are slowly adjusting and finding ways of, through an angle, drawing them into the news. Oh, stay there.
You do, for everybody else back there.
Thank you. Hi, I know you're talking about Discover,
Mm-hmm.
but could I just ask about stories
Of
and
course.
individual journalists? And are they using it? And in addition to that, since everybody else has been copying the idea, have you noticed a change in engagement?
If I have noticed a change in engagements, it's everybody has been copying the stories?
Yeah,
Okay.
are individual journalists using stories, and has it been
okay.
successful? And since Instagram and Facebook have nicked the idea?
We have not had we don't really have a lot of reporters using actual stories, but we want to get there. But it's going to be an education effort because we already asked them to live tweet and like send us emails about updates and everything. So we have to go slowly with this. We've been doing stories with the Snap team. We've been doing less of them because Snapchat Discover is like a vortex of energy, and we've had less time. Basically, what we do with the stories is that when we want to cover something on the field, like someone from my team went to the Angoulême Cartoon Festival, so she went with a phone and she made a story, a live report, and just like sending pictures and videos. And it worked really well, and we also do this to engage with them, and it's kind of like our back channel, like a way of addressing less people because we have fewer readers on the stories, obviously, than on Discover, but in a more direct and social way. And I forgot your second question.
I was just wondering.
If this change. Honestly, no. I haven't seen any change in the numbers ever since Instagram or Facebook, but it's really different. I think the Discover product is different from the Instagram stories. And about Instagram, I think it's really interesting. I don't have a definite answer on the famous question, is Instagram killing Snapchat? But I also think from the activity of the people who write to us every day, I think we have an adult biased about this. I think we are seeing, we are giving credit to the Instagram killing Snapchat narrative because Instagram fits our needs more, and we have more of our friends going on Instagram, and so we are saying, okay, the people I knew that were on Snapchat now are going on Instagram. But I think the younger people, the 13 to 18 people, I don't think the phenomenon is as pronounced as it is for us.
As a hard news provider on Snapchat Discover, have you changed your news values to fit the platform? There was a recent DigiDay piece which said that since Discover was launched, pretty much all of the partners have ended up looking exactly the same, providing sort of lowest common denominator content, because without an algorithm and very strict curation, then you just need to grab as many people as possible, which tends to be like the sort of clickbait you might have seen on Facebook maybe 3 or 4 years ago. So are there days when you feel like you should just put like something celebrity driven on the front to boost the numbers, or how do you address that tension?
If you go on Snapchat Discover US, it is true that you will see a lot of Kim Kardashian on the different titles. We've done it once when she was stolen jewels in Paris, and that was a real story. And the answer to your question is no, because honestly, news is working. And when we do something, I don't know, well, c'est pas ça a marché, but like 2 days ago, what we did is a story about the children that were turned into soldiers by the Islamic State, and that was our cover. What we try to do, though, is work on the way we word, on the way we write our headlines to be as incentive as possible, but we are not choosing the topics because we are on Snapchat Discover. But I'm not sure, sometimes we go for lighter stuff, but I wouldn't go as far as lowest common denominator. I can see what you're talking about, and I can see the US Discover landscape, but honestly, we try to remain as truthful to ourselves, and I don't want also my direction to not be proud of what we do and like hide the product, because this is not who we are. I want us to really be Le Monde. So the answer is not really.
Sorry, do you have plans for Snapchat only or Snapchat first content?
That's what we do already. We have a team of 7 people who are producing every day specifically for Snapchat Discover, and we are sometimes reverse publishing on the web Snapchat content that was made for Snapchat and then which goes on the web. And so there are pieces of content that are loosely adapted from the web, and there are pieces of content that are completely created for the platform by the team.
You mentioned earlier that you use Snapchat, to post different stories and different content and different kinds of content, but you also said that you receive questions and comments and stuff on Snapchat. It makes me wonder, do you also receive questions about news?
Yeah.
How does that change your style in journalism? Does it become more immersive? Do you answer questions, and do they lead to new news items?
It's a good question. We do receive questions about the news every day, and when we have a simple answer to give them, and we are able to give them the answer, we do directly. Sometimes they ask for us to cover a story, and if we have planned to do it, we just tell them, well, check out the edition tomorrow, and it will be there. A cool example is with Trump being elected, there was we asked them to send us their questions, and we received tons of them. What we did is, in the next edition, we repackaged the entire article with the questions from the audience, with their screen names and everything, and then the newsroom answers your questions. But we also answer them directly. And for instance, with Trump, I received questions that were really high quality and really impressive for like they were comparable to what the questions we had from 40 years old on the website, so they were very acute to news. But we've also received questions about fake news conspiracies. Like, I remember, is it true that Bill Clinton divorced Hillary a month ago and that Trump paid a secret agency to be elected? I read that somewhere. And so when we get stuff like that, obviously we answer directly. But more generally, we like to maintain the dialogue. And generally, what's fun about this is like, whoa, Le Monde, you are really answering. Is it really someone talking behind the screen? Who are you? Are you a guy or a girl? And so yes, this is me.
We have time for one more question. Who's it going to be?
If you want to talk after, because we don't have time, I'll stay around.
Hi. I just wanted to know how embedded is this within your newsroom? What do journalists think about it? Do they read it? Do they understand it? Do they like the tone of it? And do you share your learnings with them?
They were curious about it. They were not hostile. Basically, when people ask me if the other journalists in the rest of the newsroom said, "Oh, we don't. Why are we going on Snapchat? This is a mistake." They were not saying that. They were saying, "What is Snapchat?" And they went to me and I installed the app on their phone, and I showed some of them what we are doing, and so I know that really high quality editorialists, like for instance the great Sylvie Kaufman, and in our newsroom reads Snapchat, and so some of them do that. Honestly, I don't think all of the newsroom does read Snapchat because it's counterintuitive. It's not Le Monde app, so I think it's a reflex to go check out the Discover app, and so I don't think all of the newsroom goes to check out the edition every day. But no, there was more curiosity than hostility, and also we communicated internally a lot to explain the project. So we've had no problem with politics inside.
That was great. Thank you very much, Jean-Guillaume. That was really interesting. Thank you all for your great questions.
I'll stick around, so if some questions were not answered, feel free to come see me. Thanks.
C'était super. Vraiment, c'était magnifique. Merci.
Cool, ben merci à toi. Bonjour.
Ouais, c'est là.
Peut-être.
C'est là.
En fait, j'avais